washed and cleansed the Gundicha temple with his devotees and associates. In this way, he made the temple as cool and bright as his own heart. Thus, he made the place befitting for Lord Sri Krishna to sit. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovishtham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I am seeking everybody's permission, blessings, so that I can speak a little bit on this section of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. I was thinking Rath Yatra is coming in few days in Jagannath Puri and many places here in Europe also. So maybe you may be visiting some places to attend Rath Yatra. So we can discuss a little bit about this pastimes in Jagannath Puri that happened at the time of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was present there. There is no purport, but as soon as the purport comes, we will read in this section of so in this chapter of cleansing of Gundicha temple, Srila Kaviraj Goswami is also explaining the deliverance of King Prataparudra, who also wanted Lord's mercy. So, within the pastime of Gundicha Marjan, which also represents cleansing our own heart, Chetadarpana Marjanam, also how the Lord actually extends himself to save whoever tries to, submit to the Lord, is also described. So this chapter begins with this verse where the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explained to be cleansing the Gundicha temple, making the place as cool and bright as his own heart. Lord's heart is always cool. It is without any agitations. Because there is no agitations, therefore it is always filled with compassion. And and he is making the place wherever he goes, that the vibration that and that his presence makes that place also bereft of any agitations. So sometimes we may be having a lot of trouble in lives, a lot of agitations in mind and heart. But as soon as we come in front of the Lord, deities, Lord Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just by standing and having a glance, just beholding his form is so soothing, so cooling, it calms down all our agitations, isn't it? It's so nice. So therefore, coming to temple and taking darshan of the Lord is always a recommended process in bhakti. Therefore, we travel to many places, like holy places, just to see Krishna, just to see the beautiful form of Shri Radha Krishna, like Vrindavan, Krishna, Balaram, Mayapur, Panchatattva, Radha Madhav. Even Narsingadev is so nice. The form is very, but it's still so nice. His anger is basically to protect devotees from the enemies. Enemies within and without, both. So, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is rendering service. He is the Lord himself, but he is rendering service. And the quality of that service is, we can't even think of, we can't even imagine. Like we try to serve to whatever capacity we have, try a little bit. And whenever we are able to do a little bit of service with a good, without any motivations, somehow by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, we are allowed to do such kind of service, where we render a little bit of service, very little bit service, but following the footsteps without any intentions. Any problem? Any problem?
No, I'm thinking you need some water.
No, he asked me actually. Yeah. Thank you. So when we do some service without any intention, by Prabhupada's grace, we get some kind of training, some kind of environment that helps us to also render a little bit of service. It gives us quite a bit of satisfaction, and it creates a good ambience, good atmosphere around us. Just think of when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is serving Srimati Radharani, the mood of Radharani, to cleanse the place so that Jagannath can come and sit. How much that place must be vibrant, and how the devotees must be working around, serving around to clean, to help, to assist. The wonderful must have been. That is Kaviraj Goswami is describing here. But while describing this also he speaks about Prataprudra. So we'll discuss how, we'll go through the chapter as much as possible. And the class is still 9. Or Sunday is little more, we can go ahead, a little longer. Okay. Jaya Jaya Gaurachandra Jaya Nityananda. Can we say it? Jaya Jaya Gaurachandra Jaya Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
All glories to Gaurachandra, all glories to Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Chandra, all glories to devotees of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to the devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu headed by Srivas Thakur. I beg their power so that I can properly describe Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So at this time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returns from South Indian tour. He was on a South Indian preaching tour. The sannyasi is supposed to go around and preach. So as a duty to meet that duty, he left Jagannath Puri and an association of many very loving devotees so that he could go around to perform his duty as a sannyasi to preach. Although devotees are not willing to leave him, nobody wanted him to go leave Jagannath Puri. He just arrived for a few months only. And our Sarva Bhattacharya, he was already delivered by that time. So everybody loved Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like anything. At that moment he leaves and he gives an excuse that I want to search my brother. It is explained, he gives an excuse. Or basically he lies. Sometimes this speaking a lie, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also permissible for two aspects. One, he didn't want to break the heart of devotees in Jagannath Puri. He did not want to be harsh with them. At the same time, there is some higher duty, responsibilities calling. So therefore he is saying, I have to search my brother. So some family cause, family relations, family relatives, then people becomes little, okay, it's for your brother's sake, please go ahead, something like that. Or when Lord Krishna, when he left Vrindavan, he told the gopis, I am going to come back. Right? He promised. But he knew it is very difficult to come back. Various reasons. He could come back from Mathura to Vrindavan, it was very close. Just walkable distance, not very far. But he knew if he comes back, it's difficult to go back again because so many things has to be done. Till the end of Mahabharata war, so much of duties were there for Krishna to clear. So therefore, although he wanted or he said, he promised, but he didn't keep it. He continued his duty. So this is the Lord's heart, Krishna's heart, although he is surrounded by so much of intense, loving devotees who do anything for him. But he leaves that company, leaves that association for people like us who left him. Right, we all left him, we love Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu leaves the association of all devotees for people like us who left him. So the preaching is basically that. So that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But then after some time he returns back to Jagannath Puri, and this is the time the chapter begins with that particular section. We already met Ramananda Rai in the bank of Kohur, in the district of Kohur, the bank of Godavari river, and now he has come back. And in the meantime, Sarva Bhattacharya, who was the priest of Prataprudra, King Prataprudra, he was the head priest, he was the advisor in all religious matter, he was a scriptural advisor, everything. He was the chief priest of the king, very high prestigious position. It is bigger than the prime minister and other people, because what he advises, others have to execute. Is the Brahmana. So he was actually respected, not like today. Brahmanas are not respected today nowadays. They are just used as a means to achieve something, that's all. But those days, king used to actually respect such people and take their advice very seriously. So through that association, he knows about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his pastimes, his kirtan. Because he is the king, all the information comes to him. And his trip to South India, because he has agents all over India, because he is a king with, So he was very eager to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in his heart he was planning, he was thinking, and when he returned, Mahaprabhu returned, he became very happy. And so the king of Orissa, he became anxious to meet him. And the king sends a letter from his capital to Sarva Bhattacharya, entreating him to obtain the Lord's permission so that he could go and see him. And Bhattacharya, Sarva Bhattacharya replies, the Lord doesn't want to see you, sorry. He replies back. Then king's being very, very disappointed, disheartened. Then he writes another letter to Sarva Bhattacharya. He says, please appeal to all the devotees associated with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and submit this petition to them on my behalf. It's not, okay, Mahaprabhu denied, it is not appropriate to ask again. It is somebody saying no, somebody says, I don't want to eat, or something else. Somebody says, I don't want. Then again to request again and again is not good, etiquette. So the king understands that the Lord has refused, then how can I ask again? He says, okay, I'll ask the associates, the devotees surrounding him. And if all the devotees associated with the Lord are favorably disposed toward me, then they can submit my petition at the lotus feet of the Lord. Then if they feel it is appropriate, then they can ask Chaitanya. I can't ask anymore, but they can ask. And he writes, by the mercy of all the devotees, one can attain the center of lotus feet of Lord. Without his mercy, my kingdom does not appeal to me. Something like Arjuna. Of course, here there is a difference. Arjuna was willing to give up the entire kingdom because he didn't want the war. Here the king doesn't want the kingdom if the Lord's mercy is not there. So one was material, the other is purely spiritual. So when the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard, Bhattacharya gave this letter to all of them, they were quite astonished. They were kind of shocked. Because normally, even we are all preaching, we are going around. For a materialistic person to accept the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, we know it is tough. We know it is very tough. And even if they accept, we have a lot of doubts. Okay, he is doing something. Let's see how long it goes on. We have all this kind of, apprehensions within our mind and heart. But when the associates saw the king's letters full of feelings, and just few lines are here, but the letter must have been quite big. And he is writing all these things, saying that I'm going to give up the kingdom, I'm going to be a mendicant, a beggar. I don't want any of these things unless I get the mercy of the Lord. So they were quite shocked. Such a person who is a king of a big kingdom, those in the kingdom, the current state of Odisha, the boundaries, his kingdom was beyond that, up to the south and up to Tirupati. All the way the kingdom was there. But still, they were surprised, how can such a person be also get attracted to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And finally they discussed and decided, okay, the Lord would never meet the king. That is very clear. They are very clear in their heart. Mahaprabhu is not going to meet him. And if we request him to do so, the Lord will surely feel very unhappy. And nobody wanted to make Chaitanya Mahaprabhu unhappy. So then, Sarva Bhattacharya said, okay, we will not ask him to meet the king. We will simply describe the good qualities of the king, that's all. We will not tell, okay, Mahaprabhu, meet him. But rather we will just go and describe all the good qualities of the king to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In that way, if he wants, after hearing those things, he may say, okay, let's meet him. But we won't ask him whether he wants to meet him or not. So these are the fine dealings we see in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. These associates are very careful, very loving. At the same time, they wanted to help the king. So having thus reached a decision, they all went to the place of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And there, although ready to speak, they could not even utter a single word. They were there in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but nobody was able to speak anything. The towering personality of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself, in the mood of devotee. So others were also very big personality, but they were not able to speak it out, what they wanted to speak. We have seen many times in the Prabhupada's presence, people will become very tensed in his presence. I know there is a devotee, Prabhupada disciple, I just forgot his name, very senior personality. He was telling us some time back. So he was actually a person who used to go to gym and he had good muscles and a lot of bodily strength. And Prabhupada asked him, can you bring me a glass of water? So he became so anxious, so tensed. He was happy to serve, but suddenly became very tensed. So when he was bringing the glass of water, the whole hand was shaking like this. He was not able to hold a simple, 200 gram of water in his hand. He was shaking his hand like this. So he thought this is inappropriate to bring water like this to Prabhupada. So what he did, he put it on a table like this, which is heavy, and lifted the whole table, some heavy thing. Then his hand was a little stable because nowadays the load was there. Then he brought that water to Prabhupada. So Mahaprabhu, his associate, even Nityananda Prabhu and all these people were standing there. They wanted to speak, but they could not speak anything to them. Silence. Then Mahaprabhu is speaking to them. He is saying, what have you all come here to say? I see that you all want to say something, but you do not speak. What is the reason? Mahaprabhu is asking them. Then of course Nityananda Prabhu, who is like Lord's expansion, Lord himself, he is speaking. He says, well, we want to tell you something. Although we cannot stay without speaking, we are still very much afraid to speak. We are quite afraid to speak. Then he says, directly he speaks. He doesn't go around the things like diplomatically. He says straight. He says, we want to submit before you something that may or may not be befitting. The matter is this: unless you see the king will become a mendicant. He says it directly. Unless you meet him, he is going to be mendicant. And he continues to say, the king has decided to become a mendicant and accept the sign of a mendicant by wearing an ivory earring. He does not want to enjoy his kingdom without seeing the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, Srila Prabhupada writes the purport. This is the fast purport, 20th verse. I'll read it. In India, there is still a class of professional mendicants who are very much like the gypsies of Western countries. They know some magical art and mystical processes, and their business is to beg from door to door, sometimes pleading and sometimes threatening. Such mendicants are sometimes called yogis and sometimes Karnapatta yogis. The word Karnapatta refers to one who has put a hole in his ear to wear an earring made of ivory. Maharaj Prataparudra was so depressed by not getting to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he decided to become such a yogi. Ordinary men think that a yogi must have an ivory earring in his ear, but this is not the sign of a real yogi. Maharaj Prataparudra also thought that to become a mendicant yogi, one must wear such an earring. So anyway, because he was a little mad at that time, he was thinking to become a yogi. I didn't care whether that is appropriate yogi or not appropriate yogi. Whatever it is, I'm going to be a yogi if I don't feel or don't see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It was kind of madness. So Nityananda Prabhu continued. He said the king also expressed his desire to see the moonlight face of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. To his eyes, full satisfaction. He would like to raise the lotus feet of the Lord to his heart. So hearing all the statements, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mind was certainly softened. His mind became softened. And he was happy to hear all those things. Since somebody is so much crazy about himself. So naturally, one will feel good. Anybody who is like this to us, we also feel like this. So he was quite softened, but externally he became very angry. He spoke very harsh word. It was very harsh, saying, I can understand that you all desire to take me to Cuttack to see the king. Cuttack is the capital of Odisha those days. It's like Ljubljana or Slovenia. So he said, you all want me to go to Cuttack to see this king? But in that sense, in that way also he actually spoke that the king is such a great devotee, he loves him so much that he is even willing to go to Cuttack to see him. And it was like double meaning line. And but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued that it's not possible, because if a sannyasi sees a materialistic person, people will criticize me. So the reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not going is not that he was not happy with the king, or not that the king is a king, a materialistic person, externally speaking, but he was not willing to go, because if he goes, his preaching program is going to be spoiled. So as a leader, he has a responsibility. So that is the reason he didn't go. If today, if it helps us to by meeting a king, the preaching increases, we should accept it. Like His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he was going around doing all kind of things, meeting head of the states and so many things he was doing, so that he could preach better, and that is quite appropriate. So it's in the same way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was accepting to meet the king, and not accepting to meet the king because it is going to spoil his preaching. Okay. But then he just says, if Damodar Pandit says that I can meet the king, I will meet the king. Because Damodar Pandit was always kind of trying to rectify or correct Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Prabhupada speaks a lot on this subject. That he says, Prabhupada says, like people will criticize, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says people will criticize me because I am meeting a king. What is a sannyasi to do meeting a king? They will criticize me. And Prabhupada writes in translation, he doesn't use the word criticize, he uses the word blasphemy. So there is a difference between blasphemy and criticism. Criticism actually is a softer word, and blasphemy is a heavy word. Blasphemy means our spiritual life is at stake. Spiritual life is at stake. It will be difficult. Criticism is something okay. Something is okay. We can, some kind of forgiveness can be possible. Blasphemy is very, very, very severe thing. So, criticism to Krishna, the Supreme Lord, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, criticism to Guru and pure devotees is actually blasphemy. It is not just criticism, it is a blasphemy. So therefore, one has to be very careful in dealing with these things, these personalities like Supreme Lord, Guru, pure devotees. You have to be very careful. Because the intention and the heart of the Lord is always pure and clean. So when we criticize, then it is going to go against us. It's like it will reflect back on us. It's like the mirror is very clean, very, very clean, and you try to see something in it, some spot. Then that reflection is actually on us, it comes back on us. So anyway, but the point is, what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is trying to tell is we should be very careful in criticizing, not to criticize devotees. Our dealing should be very, very lot of care, and we should be careful in dealing with them. But Damodar Pandit immediately says, I am such a small person, what advice I can give you? You are the independent Supreme Lord, you can do whatever you like. But then he gives a prediction. The Damodar Pandit is not an ordinary personality. The Lord Mahaprabhu's pastimes is there. He's saying, because the king has a lot of affection for you, I can understand that by virtue of king's affection, you will touch him. He's not saying affection, he's not saying mercy, you will actually touch him, he's saying. He's predicting. Saying he will find Tamara Parasa. Parasa means actually touch. You will gain your loving touch or embrace. So he's predicting like this, Damodar Pandit. And he says, although you are completely independent, Supreme Lord, independent, but still, this is like Achintya Veda Veda. Still you are dependent on the love and affection of your devotees. That is your nature. The Supreme Lord, although he is independent, but at the same time, he is dependent on the love of the Lord. Therefore, we know we do deity worship. And deity worship is a process where the deity is expecting the service from the devotees. The Lord is actually expecting our service. He is dependent on us. If we don't feed him, he is not going to eat. He is depending on us. If he is not going to bathe him, he is going to stand like this. Like in Jagannath Puri recently, there was some problem. And it keeps happening. One day I went there, Jagannath Puri. Now they have some deities. Deities means daily duties of service in there, Jagannath. So in a day, all these services has to be rendered to Jagannath. Some bathing, brushing, cleaning, then shaving. They put chandan on his cheeks and take it out, shaving every day. And then he is dressing 3-4 times a day. All these things go on. So there is a list of services that is fixed. And all the services has to be rendered. And when the last service is done, then Lord goes to sleep and he wakes up. Suppose within 24 hours, all the services are not rendered, then they continue serving till they finish it. So the next day, sometimes the Lord goes to sleep in the morning, say 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, because the services were all pending. Services can't be stopped. So one day I was there in Nirjala Ekadasi, that's going to come. And that day, there is a pujari whose service is to offer a tambula, pan. Betel nut, betel leaves, those things, tambula. So after the whole Rajbhoga, this Brahmana's priest service is to come and just offer tambula. That is the only service he has. But because something happened to him, somebody said something to him, he was angry, he said, I am not going to offer this. And if he doesn't offer, then the next, the Arati of the Lord cannot happen. So people are waiting, standing in the temple hall for the Arati to see, Arati Darshan to see. And this person is saying, I'm not going to offer it. So everything was that, it's not that the Lord will say, okay, somebody else being, I will eat it. No, not like that. He is depending on that particular devotee to get that thing. And when that was done, finally he got pacified, he came and he offered and we saw the Arati of the Jagannath. So the deities, they actually depend on us. So this is how, he is completely independent, at the same time, he depends on the love and affection of devotees. And that is the nature of Krishna, that is the very nature of the Lord. And that is the good news for us, in the sense that our service to Lord will never stop, because he is expecting. If somebody doesn't expect, then how can you serve somebody? Somebody is totally detached, totally, independent and doesn't want anything, happy on his own, then what service you can render to such a person? It's not possible. But because the Lord, although independent, is expecting that we should do something for him, therefore we have good hope. We can always serve him. So that is a good thing about it. Nityan Prabhu is saying, coming back to the topic, so who can ask you to see the king? Nityan Prabhu is asking the Lord. It's not possible. But still, isn't it the nature of an attached man to give up his life, does not attain his desired object? So the king is so much mad about you, oh Lord. Don't you think if you don't give your mercy, he's going to die? He'll give up his life. What about that? What about that? Then he is explaining himself, okay, you don't meet him, but what you can do, he gives a solution. That you should give an external garment of your, that Bahirvasa, that the cloth that you wear, one of the chadar, you please give it to the king. By taking that chadar, at least he will not give up his life for some time. Sometime you can, carry it on. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard that, he said, okay, you are all learned people, my associates are all learned, you are all learned people, so whatever you suggest, let me accept it. And Nityananda Prabhu gets the outer garment from Govinda, servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and sends it to the king through Sarma Bhattacharya. Now, we can understand the king was so much in separation from the Lord, so much wanting to see him. When he got that dress, the Uttariya of the Lord, it was not different from the Lord, in the sense he was wearing that cloth. So he was so happy, he was in so much of ecstasy, he started actually worshipping that piece of cloth. So Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that the things that belong to the Lord is not different from the Lord. In fact, they are superior to Lord, it is said, because they bring a constant remembrance of the Lord. This is then Prabhupada quotes in Lord Shiva in Padma Purana. He speaks to Mother Parvati. Lord Shiva is speaking to Mother Parvati. This very popular sloka, Prabhupada often quoted it. Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnur aradhanam param tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samarchanam. That of all the worship of Lord Vishnu is the best. Worship of Lord Krishna is the supreme best. Because I don't know, you have not seen the different types of worship, but in India I have seen so many different types of worship is offered to Lord Ganesha, to Mother Durga, to whom Lord Shiva is speaking. Worship to Lord Shiva, different forms of worships are there in India, and some tantric worships which is black magic and art, to kind of flesh, blood, bone and all those things, and liquor. And they offer some of these Lord Shiva's forms are worshipped with liquor, actual liquor. There is a Kal Bhairav if you go to that's Ujjain. In Ujjain there is a deity of Kal Bhairav, Lord Shiva, and they offer him actually liquor. The people come in queue with a bottle of liquor each carrying. They come and offer. And there is another same city, Ujjain. There is another I forgot the name. The main deity is actually one of the Jyotirlinga. Till recently they used to offer. They actually bring the ash from the smasan, crematorium, human body, burnt body, ash, and apply on the Shivalinga there. So there are different forms of worship, but Lord Shiva is saying, of all the form of worship to Lord Krishna, Vishnu is the best because it is filled with loving affection and dealings, and so much of auspicious things are offered, like nice flowers and fruits and nice preparation made with ghee. So the worship of Vishnu is the best. Lord Shiva is speaking to Parvati. Parvati also, Kali, they offer so many animals in that chop so many animals right in the temple. The Kali temple was actually Mother Durga. She doesn't want these things, but people bring such kind of worship. So together they're discussing, they're saying actually the worship the people do to us is not good. The worship they do to Vishnu is the best. But then even better than that, or the highest, Tasmat Parataram, even better than that, Parataram means the best, is Tadyanam Samarchanam. Tadya means the things which is used in the service of the Lord is superior than the Lord himself. Sometimes we say the holy name is more powerful than Krishna himself. We say like that. Sometimes just by saying the name, many things happen. President so and so, he said, so therefore by his name things can happen. But okay, anyway, holy name is much merciful, superior than our the Lord Himself. So Tadyanam includes, like Lord's cloth is Tadya. That cloth is very, very, it should be worshipped more than the Lord Himself. And Prabhupada says, even the devotees are called Tadya, because devotees are like it is said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's incarnation described, Krishna Varnam Tasa Krishna Sangha Panga Sangha Upanga Parswadam. And that sloka, that the devotees are described as the Lord's Anga, or bodily parts basically, or Tadiya in that sense. So therefore, dealing with devotees is also very, very, we have to be very careful dealing with devotees. Whether the devotee is new or very senior or advanced guru, or just practicing for so many years, whoever one person may be, we have to deal very nicely, so that we don't commit any offense, because that is, devotees are more dear to Krishna than Krishna is dear to himself, right? So that is the point we should try to understand. So then Ramananda Rai, he returns from South India and he tells the king that he wants to quit the job, he wants to retire, and to take a retirement and stay with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the king becomes very happy about this news. He is not saying, I'm going to lose a very good administrator. He was happy, he says, okay, you go ahead, I'll give you the full salary and pension and everything. But he requests one thing, he says, please, if you go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, try to fix an appointment, I want to see him. So he continues his requests. And Ramananda Rai was an administrator, he was a diplomat. So he knew how to speak appropriately. That's an art, that's a science. And Ramananda Rai, he would speak about the king to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quite often, describing how nice this king is. And naturally, because Ramananda Rai was working with the king for so many years, in a very, very intimate capacity, intimate position, power, so it is natural that he would speak about him to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Suppose I work with somebody very closely for many years, and if I meet somebody new, I'll speak about him or her, whatever situation, will speak like that. So Ramananda Rai was speaking about the king in a very, very systematic and very way, and that brought even more softness in the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, but then Maharaj Paturu was in great anxiety. He couldn't endure not seeing the Lord. He couldn't endure, even if he got the cloth and everything. Then finally Ramananda Rai is telling Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please show your lotus feet to the king at least once. Because he knows Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking about it, and he knows the king. Finally, Ramananda Rai himself requests once more, please show your lotus feet to the king at least once. Now earlier Nityananda Prabhu gave a proposal that you should give your outer garments to the king. Now here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving another solution himself. He is saying, you bring his son, being the prince, because the son lives through father. If you bring the son, then that is as good as the king seeing me. I have no objection seeing his son. So in that way, then the Nityananda Prabhu, Ramananda Rai, makes an appointment of the Lord with his son. So like that the whole topic goes on. And finally Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meets Ramananda Rai during Rath Yatra after the cleansing of Gundicha. I want to speak a little bit about Gundicha Marjan, but the time is already already 9 o'clock. And a few things that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cleansed the temple, worked very hard, whole day. Cleaning, all day long cleaning. They would bring water from Indradumna Sarovar and through pots carrying, because there was no pipeline, no pumps, no electricity those days. They would literally first clean with the jhadu, with the broomstick, then water, they splash water, then again broomstick, they clean, the whole place was entirely clean. Everybody was tired, then had prasad. Mahaprasad of Jagannath came, because that day Jagannath comes out of his fever. After Snana Yatra he gets fever, but that day he recovers. And the actual offering is made. Because while he was sick, whatever was offered to him, it would not be given to anybody else. This is something we have to learn again. Jagannath is Supreme Lord, nothing affects him. He is beyond apababitham. Nothing can infect him. But in that pastime he becomes sick. He gets fever. So then Jagannath temple, it is explained that when Jagannath is sick, his Mahaprasad is not given to the public, because they don't want public to become sick. Something like that. It's not given. It is only the pujaris who serve Jagannath, whatever remains, they only eat. They only eat there. And they eat right inside the sanctorium, in the altar. And whatever remains, they pile it in one cup. They don't take it outside also. It's just they keep piling for 7-8 days. But it never returns. The people who serve there, they tell me, it never returns. But the last day they take the whole thing out to dump it in a pit. The moment they say take it out, put it in the pit, the smell starts coming. But till the time it is there inside, it never smells bad. So there's some mystic thing happens there. So anyway, but the day of Gundicha Marjan, the Lord comes out full life, recovered, and offering is made. After a long time, full 56 bhoga offering is made. And that Mahaprasad comes to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the associates who worked hard all day long. They take the Mahaprasad, and after Mahaprasad, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu along with all his associates, they go to the main temple. Because Jagannath was not available for darshan for so many days. So the Lord, with a lot of feeling after cleaning the whole temple, cleaning and taking Mahaprasad, he actually goes with all his associates to take darshan of the Jagannath. That is called Netroshchav. There was feast for the eyes. Because till now, till some time they were in separation. Mahaprabhu would go every day to see Jagannath. Every day morning he would go to see Jagannath and stand in front of Jagannath for hours. That was a daily duty. But for this period of time when he becomes sick, Mahaprabhu would not be able to see him. So when all the cleaning is done, they had Mahaprasad, the evening has come, climate has come down, nice breeze is blowing. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, along with the associates, they just walk towards the temple. They enter and they behold Jagannath. And that's how the Gundicha Marjan ends. And next day, Rath Yatra begins. Hare Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Jai Panchatattva ki, Dhan Guru Premanande. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Any questions or comments? Any questions, comments? Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you very much.